And the wall captains kind of they've been there before, they kind of know what to do, they know the run, they have plans, because it's easy to forget some things within a year. But they have a plan of where the bricks go, where the rebarb goes, and so we start on the corners and then we work our way in, and we go up 3 courses and we fill our wall corners, and we go up 3 more courses and fill our wall corners with concrete. And so the first day we were there 6 courses high, and then we stucco that in the afternoon after siesta. And that's another thing. They really believe in siestas.
What's a siesta?
It's very nice, because about 12 o'clock, that heat starts to be intense. It's 100-degree weather down there. And
boy.
At 7 o'clock in the morning, you don't really feel it. It's a nice morning. We were blessed with some cooler morning breeze. But by 12, you could start to feel the heat come on. And so you're like, okay, I'm ready for my siesta. And so everybody goes back, and Jim and Candy Webb,
the meal
they feed us our lunch for the day.
And those are members of First Presbyterian Church here locally.
That's right.
Yeah, they're down. Were they down both weeks?
Both weeks. And it's a lot. I mean, they are wonderful.
Dedicated volunteers.
Gosh, they have so much energy to be elderly, but they would not have it any other way. They want to do this. They want to take part in this mission. They want to be there for 2 weeks. And I'll be honest with you, we couldn't do it without them. I mean, they're there at the work site bringing us water, giving us lollipops to put in our mouth for the sugar, and just trying to keep us all cool and comfortable. So we depend on them being there. So when we go back, they have the lunch prepared, and we have lunch. And then we have about 2 hours to just kind of take a nap, because we've been up since early that morning. Some of us would go down to they have a pool at the hotel that we stayed at. And it's not like we would think our pool is. I mean, when you first go in there, it probably looks more like a lake. Doesn't have the filtration system as some pools, but you can smell the chlorine, so you think, okay, at least it has chlorine in there, so that's a little bit better. And so we just kind of take a dip in the pool and just kind of lay out for a little bit after we eat, and then take a little bit of nap, and then it's time to, put back on our clothes, our nasty, stinky clothes, and head back out to the work site about 3:30, 3 o'clock. And that's
cool down.
Well, and
maybe it's not. It's still hot as blazes.
It's not. The afternoons were always harder, because the morning you at least had the coolness of it. But the afternoons, I mean, that sun got really, really hot. And I think it was the second day. The first day we didn't seem to be, the mosquitoes didn't really bother us too much. They say bring insect repellent and sunscreen, and you bring all that stuff. But the first day they didn't really mess with us. The second day, the mosquitoes were really bad, and I'm not sure if the horse was closer to us that day or just what it was, but it was not good. And so we had mosquitoes, and we're lathering ourselves with sunscreen and mosquitoes, and I mean with insect repellent, and then we noticed that there's these buzzards that are circling our head, and Meg noticed it. Meg King, she was on the trip with us. She's like, "Are those buzzards?" I'm like, "I think that they are. Do you think they know something that we don't? Are they expecting us to just pass out at any point? We're like prey out here in the middle of nowhere." But they didn't bother us with that. But towards the end of the afternoon, we head back about 6 o'clock is normally the latest that we stay at the worksite day. And that 3 hours in the late afternoon, you're actually doing stucco, which I have a great deal of appreciation for people who work in construction now outside, because that's a hard job. You're keeping the concrete wet, you're trying to get that stuff on, get it to stick, get it smooth. So it takes some talent and some work. Some people just kind of go into it and they just have a knack for it. And some of us, it was like, I think I'll spray. Or my daughter brushed after they were done. She did a great job of brushing. So
my God. Your daughter Sammy was down with you?
Sammy Kay was down with us. She sure was. And she had been on mission trips before but only within the country, to Virginia, West Virginia, where First Pres takes the youth on these mission trips. So she'd been part of that before, but never anything out of the country. So this was her first experience out of the country, and I was so proud of her. She worked so hard. And, she was just in there with the rest of them, with the block line of moving those blocks and lifting up all that weight and putting those blocks on the wall and doing the brushing. And
was she the youngest person on the trip?
She was.
In your group? For that week?
That's right. Now, the second week that Todd was down there, they had a couple that Donna Dillinger was down there with Dalton, her son, and Ann Cox was down there with Will, and they were about Sammy Kay's age. Will and Dalton are about Sammy Kay's age. And so they encourage, you know, younger, if you have a daughter, if you have a son that, you know, you think can work. Normally they say 15 is a good age to start them out on that. But some, you know, some may mature early, or some may not be ready at 15 to go, you know, into that kind of countryside or work in that kind of environment. And you can tell as a parent whether your child is ready for it, but it's a great experience for them. So.
Golly, Sherry, we just got about 5 minutes, so we need to get into day. We rolled through day 2. I know you all had a terrible storm that night, and it highlighted some of the blessings of living in the U.S. at some level.
Well, on the second night, we woke up and there was this tremendous thunder and lightning, just lighting up the sky, and it was just very frightening. We looked out our window, and it's complete craziness. The tent, Constructores para Cristo has a big tent that we eat under, and it's held down with these big gallon cans, and it was lifting those cans up, and that banging sound you could hear, and the chairs were flying, and you know, and my husband decides to take that to show his bravery and go out there with the rest of the men. I'm like, no, you don't have to. There's plenty of guys out there already. He's like, no, I need to go down there. I'm like, okay, exactly. Let Bubba do it. Let Bubba and John do it. But exactly. But he went down there, and but you could walk out there and you could feel like the electricity on your skin. I'd never been in a storm like that before. So my first instinct is I run to the television and I'm flipping through channels trying to find the Weather Channel to see, you know, they just had that tornado that went through Eagle Pass right above them. So I'm thinking, okay, this is another tornado. We need to find out. Do we have a tub to jump into? And there's no CNN. There's no Weather Channel. I thought, oh my gosh, you know, there's no local news. We're absolutely not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We're in New Mexico, and they don't have a national weather service. There are no warnings for these people. And oh, thank God for the U.S. Thank you that we are so blessed in this country that our government cares enough to have those services available to us through the Weather Channel or through our local TV station that tells us about weather that's severe or damage, especially with our area, with the hurricanes. You know, we depend on them a lot. So. Again, thank goodness that we live in a country that protects us in that way.
You know, I hate to say it, Sherry, we're running out of time. You know, even though there's so many other fascinating things from day 3, like the market day, and day 4, of course, you talk about the chinking. One of the things you highlighted from day 1 is some of the aspects about electricity in the home or things that they get to pick or not get to pick. Share with viewers real quick in a couple of minutes just the significance of what this house is all about and what they have and don't have.
Well, they just get to pick out where their windows are going to go when we ask them what they want. They don't get to pick out their wall color. They don't get to pick out their cabinet style or their countertops or floor covering like when we build a home, because the house will not have any of that. It'll have a concrete floor. It'll have, you know, 4 walls, 3 rooms, and no running water, no electricity. They have a gas line that we put into the home that they can hook up to a propane tank outside. If they want water, they're kind of like a water, certain homes will have it, and we were using their cousin's water down from them, and it's just a hose, and they just pull the hose through the window, and that's their water. They don't... it's so difficult for us to even think about. We're so used to having indoor plumbing and washing our hands or going to the bathroom, and this house doesn't have a bathroom. This house doesn't have closets. I mean, it's just 4 walls, and this is going to be their home, and they will make do with it, and they'll be happy with it. You know, they were so excited. You know, they're crying. They're so excited.
Oh yeah, probably everyone, all of y'all as well. That ties into Dedication Day, the last day.
It's very emotional, Dedication Day, just because when the kids start crying, that's when you kind of lose it. And the kids are just bawling because they're so excited. You lose it, and at that point, everybody, every woman and man there did not have. Everybody's crying because it's so emotional for them.
That Dedication Day, you all had a special luncheon. There was a mixture of both the Mexican, the Hispanic community, as well as the American community on that day.
We had they wanted a picnic lunch. We always let them choose what kind of dedication lunch they want. They wanted a picnic, so we made arrangements for fried chicken, and we picked up some other local flavors of their pastries,
right.
some of their salsa, avocado. Those are things that they are kind of indigenous to that area. We made a fruit bowl out of a watermelon. Watermelon's really a big fruit there that they eat.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a really nice mixture of what we eat and what they eat, and it was just a blending of the cultures right there at our picnic tables.
You shared that there were clearly no borders or nationalities that day, or virtually any day y'all were there.
No, because by the 5th day you've learned to communicate where they can understand you and you can understand them a little bit, and you don't feel them at all. You're just one, and you've built this house, and this family's going to live in that house, and borders and cultures no longer matter at that point. You're part of it, and you'll always be a part of it because your hands went into making it. So
those are great words. Thanks so much for being with us this morning,
You're
Shari,
so welcome.
and so glad you're back.
Thank you for having
back
me.
safely.
Thank you for letting
Absolutely.
me go.
I know Nancy did a great job last week, but it was tough not having you around. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Shari Harms coming up next. Those key words, in the body of Christ, in the body of Christ. It's so special to think about that. Shari wrapped up her 5-day little write-up there with those key words. You know, we didn't get to talk about chinking or Alfonso's or Market Day or shops that are on the list, i.e. shops that you can actually eat the foods from there, a little ice cream shop that they visited. Shari loved the frozen fruits down there. We'll have to get her husband in, one of the organizers of the trip from First Presbyterian Church, to talk more about the 2-week stay down there. But all the folks, the family down there, you heard Shari talk about the children crying, the adults then crying, and all the volunteers all together in the body of Christ, crying together, celebrating, crying in a celebratory manner. It's a special thing. Constructores, paracristo.org or 448-4496. Give the church a call. Get involved.